Alright, I got another poem for everyone, and I actually was stumped about how to actually title this poem. Couldn't really think of any clever puns on someone's name or, a way to basically, you know, you said something that like the source material, because it was just the person's actual name. So in this case, it's Pat Benetar. Um, yeah, so a little kind of hard to actually, really work with that. It's not like like Weird Al Yankovic where it said you can just call him like the accordion man. Okay, that at least people know who you're talking about. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, it said. So it's a little hard to actually. Some people's names just really doesn't work. I mean, the only other time I can really think that it actually worked perfectly was Ingrid Humperdinck, and I basically just called that one "Pick a Better Stage Name." That's all it really was, because it's just like your name is George, and you went with that. Like, how'd you pull that out of your head? So, here we go. There aren't any instructions on how to navigate this world, so it's all too easy to get nervous when we find something new that doesn't go to plan, and realize that precious time has been lost, and there's nothing we can do with what's left but fight it out to see what can be salvaged for another bout of living amongst the human race, where the concept of the good life is sadly just out of reach for most. The biggest problem with our world is that there are too many heartbreakers around every corner because not everyone has the answers for everyone. And while looking for a stranger to provide a glimpse at a brighter tomorrow can work if you're going to school, we regularly learn a little too late that we'll lose so many friends throughout the years. We feel it's easier being disconnected to avoid the pain of never seeing certain people again because we mastered the art of letting go and enjoying life from a distance. Even if we have a few days where we feel all fired up and ready to go, such elation isn't meant to last forever. So then once this rush subsides, all the anxiety from not being happy comes back to us, with the intent of keeping those who already have emotional issues in a very sorry state of hoping to discover another way to appear normal. Because if you're unhappy with life, people say don't let it show, just in case no one wants to prove the concept of finding sanctuary in a general soul is just a fool's errand. Many people try to deny life isn't quite as bad all the time because they found a little paradise in simple moments that said, do find strength. However, there will always come a time when the kingdom key will refuse to turn because some problem will be there to remind all the once invincible souls who had a constant toxic smile across their faces said you can't have it all unless you suffer tragedy with the joy. Making friends can help during difficult times, yet it takes a lot of effort. It said turning the temporary heroes into lifelong companions because a crazy world like this does everything to prevent monotony from taking over to give people a break from being brokenhearted after seeing others never falling into a state of despair to exchange a few dirty secrets to understand no one is meant to be perfect each moment of their lives. And at this time, it's human to feel glum and get help from someone who cares. No matter how we grow up, when we enter this world, we were someone's baby who knew nothing about what life was, and we need as much support as possible for tough times from brave souls who have to have not only manage their own lives but be stronger for new arrivals. It said when the shadows of the night become monsters, said, and we really can't help but cry for someone to strengthen the ties that bind. Said through a great many years, knowing the river of love will have several rapids meant to adjust her long course. Sometimes the past can haunt us, especially after finding pictures of a world gone, said due to the intense ravages of time, where it's been so long since certain joyous events have occurred that we can easily forget details in these times, that we often question if everything was factual or forged from extensive walking in the underground portions of our minds where old memories wait to pounce. So when pleasant dreams are quickly tainted with dark thoughts because we can all become an evil genius during sleep. Life is different for everyone, so take it any way you want. If said wanted if things begin to make sense. But always keep on your guard about change, because what one person might perceive as their next true love can turn into a nightmare for others if the feelings aren't returned and crimes of passion are committed to get attention. Said yet, love is a battlefield with too many casualties from being unprepared for the next long battle or spending too long a soldier that recognizing victory is practically impossible. Sadly, religion is hard to believe at times, and it really disturbs me as multiple people use it too much like a weapon with thoughts of judgment or the risk of ending up in purgatory for not having found the right path in life, or found relief in some temptation that evokes a similar feeling of delight to give rise to a false smile because religion is supposed to be about love and forgiveness. Yet people aren't afraid to point out hell is for children who aren't raised according to the zealous, who are often wary of those who are different and get angry whenever salvation is found through another method. One problem I've seen with life is that some people like to play the victim to get all the attention to avoid taking responsibility for their actions and don't care if they suffer the little children cries. Said, if the relief for them is gone because they pulled someone horrible out of the ruins they created, and every tear from the bloodshot eyes of the innocent will be wiped away as there is nothing left to comfort those in misfortune. So don't walk away from those who need to feel the power of hope. Most people don't understand how I interpret life, but that's because I'm a cerebral man who really thinks of strange things to comfort. So without many friends at my side and my love for creating a series of dark poems using old artists that once gave strength to fans. So I feel lucky to have this peculiar skill to help others who make requests for healing, but I won't say that this is an easy process. A lot of my writing comes during the late night, and my inner darkness serves as a silent partner in the dissection of a new discography. So that I say to the darkness, hit me with your best shot to see if some ideas emerge from a prisoner of love gone wrong who only wants to make others happy or share the agony of feeling lost and wanting to know that there are more just like me who need a friend to be strong. In my dreams, strange things can happen because my mind takes a while to fully shut down, and some wild thoughts instead want to take center stage to convince me a painted desert landscape so it can turn into the real thing with all the heat if I allow myself to sink deeper and be wide awake in dreamland where all things are possible, like moving so fast you can run between the raindrops and not get wet. Or if you see a shooting star, you can sail across the night sky forever without burning up or being forgotten. I know that you always have said said you always have to behave your best in public, but can you be so sincere around those who try to spread misery to hide the fact that said they're crying on the inside and said from not being able to live freely in a world that said demands perfection, only to reach out and said only to be out of reach, like we belong outside of paradise to keep the struggle going. And I get evil must exist with good to provide the illusion of balance. Yet, if you think I'm going to follow you into oblivion, then it proves isolation has a few weird perks. All I can say is that if you treat me right, I'll be there for you when you're feeling down. But my cynical nature remains because I've met too many people of fire and ice who have burned me just for fun, with many false promises. So if you do this, then I don't want to be your friend, as it will only be another path to despair. And every time I fall back into such a state, I wonder if I was ever meant for finding true happiness, or I'm just crazy for trying to understand what it means to be a human being. Someone please tell me that I'm not wrong in thinking life is cruel, and the only way to build the brighter future is to make today as good as possible, because I want out of this fog of isolation to finally be able to see this world is still good. So please don't leave me behind with nothing but sweet memories that become bitter, said, as days turn to evening, and once again, said I find myself not feeling well. Yeah. So, a lot of that actually kind of stemmed from the fact that, I'm not really on too many forms of social media to really kind of keep up with all the random junk everyone has to say. It's like, oh, did you, it said, I went to the store today and grapes were 5 cents, more than normal. And it was like I don't need to know that stuff. If you're talking, saying, hey, I got into a bad car wreck, a little bit, everything it said, and I was really kind of worried, about, if I was going to be injured, it said, or anything. That's something I would rather talk to you in person, you know, and sometimes people just don't care about the feelings of others. It's always just kind of like, if you go to work and you are around people, you have to pretty much say, look at me, I'm super happy, even though you practically feel as though you're so hollow inside that, if someone basically just tapped you, you would immediately kind of buckle in an said in nothing. Kind of like when you drain all the liquid out of a soda can. Just kind of have that hollowness. How easily you just kind of the metal bends. There's like literally nothing kind of holding it back. Well, I do have a few good people in my life. I said we're not said together as often, and you know, it's just that's just how life is. I mean, I can always just pick up the phone, ask him a few questions, and that means the world to me. If I try to reach out to someone, it's like 3 weeks to say, like, oh, I just got your text. I'm thinking, how could you not do that? It said, how could you not do that? You said, I'm always trying to check my phone, maybe once every few hours just to see if there's like some kind of update or, some kind of message saying, hey, you're going to need to do this, later on today. you know, that said, I know a lot of people have that. So it's almost like they either blocked your number and they didn't want to admit it, or said until it's like, oh, this person said, oh, remember our old friend? He finally amounted to something, important, and he's probably gonna be celebrating soon. So basically, friends kind of become parasites, and it's just not the same thing anymore. And I just kind of hate people like that. Just I kind of hate overly religious people. They will always say, the Bible says this, the Bible says that. And I knew someone like that, in school, and I can honestly say they were one of the worst people I've ever met because, they would never give you a straight answer about something. They would either fall back too many on other things. It's like, what do you really say about this thing? Don't quote anyone else, just say, I so and so believe this. Just a simple, quick answer. That's bad. If you're feeling bad, it's like said, oh, look at me, I'm all super cheerful. I'm like, and it's just like those are the people I really hate in life. That comment about all the toxic smiles. It's like, I can be happy at just about anything. It's like, is that I really do not want to see you at your worst unless it will provide me with some great relief, saying, hey, this is how I feel all the time. Okay. It said, you think it was, easy, going through life with instead thinking bad karma won't find you. It said, you're just basically, racking up the bill, for bad luck. And now that you're finally paying it, don't expect me to, even send you a smile. So I know that's kind of a dark way of thinking about life. Like I said, I am a bit of a cynic. And I've had way too many people, say, hey, man, said we're going to do this or we're going to go do that. I'll talk to this person. And like if you said, you're looking for a job, let's do this. And you never hear from anyone. And just like, why should I even bother even talking to you about even something simple? Because, they always have that one little thing they blurt out. It's like, really? And by the time they realized they had gotten caught, it's like, you're practically saying, you're ready to say, said, see you never. Because I just hate all those false promises. That's kind of bad. I mean, I know it's kind of bad, leave someone as positive as Pat Benetar to actually to relay this message, but that's just how I interpreted everything, with just the song titles alone. The fact that matter, that's how it actually got out. It's rather than, I'm not trying to like rewrite the songs or anything. All it really just is saying, this is what I said. I read your song titles. You know, I've listened to a bit of your music, and then this is how I kind of think about. This is what everything kind of got me thinking. So, at very best, I would just say thank you for being a very talented individual, Miss Benatar. I hope you can continue doing it in the future. And you know, if you actually said watch this video yourself, you know that would mean a lot to me. For someone that you actually said this was an interesting experience. All right, well, hope you guys have a good one. Hoping to actually have a different kind of poem. Or another poem ready soon. I'm writing one, but I've also got a poem I kind of refound recently. I read it many years ago. I'm thinking, you know what? I think this would be a pretty. As I said, people might want to hear this again. So hopefully you take care of yourselves and just remember to smile. You know, for people like me who kind of really who kind of need a little bit more light in their life. All right, thank you.